Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we try to talk to people from across the country about things you could do in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
I wanted Millie, the character of Millie, which is played by Sweeney, to come into this world that just on the outside looks like the perfect situation.
Every year on our anniversary, we wake up and we are like, that's enough, right? That's long enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing new to figure out.
Our lives are relatable to many people. I believe that there's a lot of lessons learned from watching this show.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Ever watch a racing movie and think there's no way that could actually happen? That's exactly what F1 the movie set out to avoid, putting real racing logic behind every pass, every turn, and every close call. So joining us is Luciano Bachata, the film's driving sequence choreographer and a former Formula 2 champion who helped train the cast and design the racing so it felt authentic from the driver's seat out. Luciano, it's great to have you here with us. How are you?
Very well, thanks for having me.
When people hear racing choreography, they might picture something flashy, but for you, it starts with realism. What was your first priority when designing racing for F1 the movie?
It's exactly what you said, realism. So, every race in this movie, I just wanted to make sure that it would not interrupt the flow of a viewer. If you're watching it and you know you're racing, you'd be like, yep, that would happen, this would happen, that's legit. And that was a big part in choreographing the sequences. But the choreography was only possible if we have our two lead actors also driving and taking it on. So it started off with the training. We had to train them both for 4 months to be able to drive these cars, not just fast, but safely, and also have the capacity to take on the quite complicated choreography that we would come up with.
You trained Brad Pitt and Damson Idris to actually drive these cars. What surprised you most about how they adapted once they got out of the simulator and onto the actual track?
Yeah, I mean, it was a process. What surprised me is how quickly they took it on, because most racing drivers have 10 years to build up to driving these cars, or 15 years from when they start go-karts. We had 4 months, and so it was really intense and a lot of information being thrown at them. And also they had to consider the fact that they're also making a movie. They've got to look at the script and they've got dialogue scenes and other stuff to worry about. So for them, it was so full on, but they really immersed themselves into the process of becoming racing drivers, which is what it was. We weren't just teaching them to drive, we were teaching them to become racing drivers, down to the point of how they behave in the garage. How do you put your helmet on? How do you put your balaclava on? All those small details. And it all went into creating an environment for them to drive in that they belonged in and they felt comfortable in. And the more comfortable they felt, the more spare capacity they had in their minds to take on what we were throwing at them with choreography. So yeah, it was a lot. It was fun. And there was some real fun times in rehearsal when we were going wheel to wheel with, I'd be wheel to wheel with Brad, and we were having challenges like he had to keep me behind with no rules, and he could squeeze me on the grass if he wanted to, and he did. So yeah, it was very fun.
This film was shot during real Grand Prix weekends with very limited time to get the shots. How much planning went into making sure every racing moment served the story and made sense to real fans, and what challenges did that provide?
So, like you said, we would sometimes have only 10 minutes or a 15-minute window on a Formula 1 weekend. So it meant that we had to prepare so much before those sessions. So as a stunt team, we would simulate the sequences. We'd go on our simulators with Craig, with the other drivers, and we'd drive what we were proposing to do, what the script called for. We'd show it to Joe Kosinski, our director. He'd come back with tweaks. We'd come up with proposals for better ideas. So before we even got to the shoot day or the race weekend, we'd already driven it. And Brad and Damson would jump in on that as well. So they'd drive the sequences before we get there. So we were all prepared before we got to shoot day with what we were going to do on tracks. And when we went out there, we had two-way radios, we'd talk, but we were so comfortable. We just went out there and we did it straight away, which was very rewarding, but also challenging, because sometimes a 10-minute window would get cut down to 7 minutes if there was an incident in the session before. So we always had curveballs and we always had to get around them, but as a team, we would plan for these hurdles and come up with contingencies.
Lewis Hamilton was also closely involved in shaping how the racing looked and felt. How did this input add to the authenticity of those sequences?
Lewis's input was so wide-ranging, from sound, making sure that the cars sounded correct and the correct gears were being used, and you could hear elements that only he would be able to give input in from his experience driving all the time, but also allowing us, Lewis was a huge part in having Formula One on board and even allowing us to drive on these Formula One weekends and create the realistic shots. So, he was involved in the script. It was just so wide-ranging to have Lewis, and the movie would not have been possible without his input.
Luciano, I want to thank you for joining me today. F1 the movie is streaming now on Apple TV, and if you want to see what real racing feels like from inside the cockpit, this one's worth a watch. Thanks again for joining me today.
Thanks very much. Thank you for having me.
Do you ever watch a trailer to instantly wonder what really happened behind the scenes? The Mighty Oaks is one of those films, a survival story with heart, grit, and a little mystery woven in. It lands on VOD and DVD on December 9th, and today we've got two key voices behind it. Filmmaker Brendan Hardy and producer Brad Ledwith. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you, my friends?
Thank you so much for having us, Dan. We're having a great time.
All right, I'm glad you're having a great time because I'm off to a terrible start this morning. My brain is frazzled, and I guess for the people that are just hearing about it, what is the Mighty Oaks really about, kind of at its core?
I think that the story of the Mighty Oaks is truly an opportunity for people to see lacrosse, tear the covers off of high school sports, and at the same time, accentuate the successes of an underdog team.
We have been talking about lacrosse a lot on the show lately. It's the
fastest growing sport.
Yeah. When you first stepped into the project, what grabbed you about the story, some of the characters, and the setting?
Brendan?
For me, it was, first and foremost, Brad's enthusiasm and the community that surrounded him. Tough to do a project like this if everybody's not, bought in and excited about it. And that's really the energy we had from the very beginning. And then to have the opportunity to, pull the curtain back and show what it's really like to spend a season with these kids who are going through all the issues kids have, as well as trying to win a championship. From my perspective as a creator, it was an awesome opportunity, and we think it comes out in the final product.
And the dynamic between some of the characters or people in it did feel personal. Did you bring anything from your own personal lives or experience to kind of shape how you approach this movie?
Well, that's a great question, Dan. I think that I bring it to the sports. My own experiences of growing up playing baseball, football, basketball. I lost my dad at an early age, and to me, being able to give back to my community, and my dad was a real involved in I remember him being president of the soccer team in the 70s, and honestly, it's one of those things that I remember him doing a lot for the program, and he didn't know anything about soccer. So the story of the Mighty Oaks, which you can find on Amazon Prime, which you can pre-order on Apple TV, December 9th it comes out. I'm telling you right now, if you buy this movie, if you like documentaries, you'll love it. If you like sports documentaries, you're going to think it wins an Oscar.
And the film digs into a little bit of loss, adoption, family grief. How did you approach telling some of these stories without getting too personal or exposing too much?
Well, we covered a lot of different stories. There's a whole women's aspect to this, and their varsity team as well. But some of the more personal stories, I think you just have to handle with sensitivity and a deft touch, but also keep it authentic. And I think if you do that, you have license to tell the stories and get support from the families, and humanizing this movie and making it not just a sports film, but something about the kids and really getting into some of the emotional aspects was important. And that's why we did it.
And telling a documentary, it may be a little difficult because Morgan Hill, they built this lacrosse program pretty much from scratch. What did you learn about the community, or how did you be able to get the community and the parents to support you in making this possible?
Brad's a juggernaut in the community. His enthusiasm is infectious. He's been around from day one. Really, we call him the godfather of lacrosse in the community, but what he really is one of the greatest supporters of it and givers of his time. That's what really got me into it.
All right, you two, I want to thank you two for joining me. You can check out The Mighty Oaks as it comes to streaming on December 9th. I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thanks, Dan. And listen, my story is the same all over the country, and Brendan told it very well.
Well, thank you too.
Thanks, Dan.
From comedy to music to reality TV, Love and Hip Hop Miami has always been about big personalities and even bigger life moments. This season, familiar faces are stepping in very different chapters, both on and off camera. We caught up with Michael Blackson, Amada La Negra, and Miami legend Trick Daddy to talk growth, legacy, and what viewers can expect this season. Welcome to the show, you three.
Oh my God, I love you so much. This is so much fun. Let's do it.
Michael, fans are seeing a very personal chapter for you this season. Becoming a father again wasn't exactly part of the plan, but how has that changed your perspective right now?
You know what? Here's the thing. You know, my youngest prior to the two new babies, my youngest are twin boys that are 18 years old. I mean, I really felt like I was done. You know, felt like I was free now to, you know, no more child support. I could just run the word and just do whatever I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, this happened. It was nothing that was planned. It just happened. But the thing about the babies, every time that I pick them up and look at them, they put a smile on my face. They give you a reason to live longer, you know. So babies are nothing but a blessing from God, and they encourage you to like live longer and work harder because you just want to see them, you want to watch them grow. So they've been a new bundle of joy in my life, and they are boys, and you know, there's nothing like an African man giving birth to two new kings. You know, so it's a great feeling. I'm not even going to front on it, even though it was nothing that I was looking forward to, I was looking forward to happening. But when it happened, it brought me a new life.
Amada, viewers have watched you grow for years, not just personally, but as a businesswoman and a mom. As this new season begins, where are you right now?
Thank you so much. Well, look, I have launched Eternal Beauty. It's doing very well. This collaboration that I did with this Mexican company called Cermats. Now we're putting out my second perfume called Revenge, because success is the best revenge. And that will be coming out soon as well. I continue to invest in real estate, you know, continue to grow the legacy for my daughters. And every birthday, every October, I buy a new property, which I think is so important for the Black community to leave something for the next generation to come. I'm working on Desiguales, the talk show that I do Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. on Univision. I will be doing a movie next year. I'm already working with my acting coach to get those things together. I'm always looking to evolve and grow and take advantage of the wave while it's high. And obviously, I want people to continue watching Love and Hip Hop Miami, even though that I'm not always the proudest of my behavior or the stories that may come out. I think that the most important thing is that our lives are relatable to many people. I believe that there's a lot of lessons learned from watching this show. And yes, it's entertaining, but if you really pay attention and you look at the depth of the stories, there are many things that are very relatable to the people that watch. And on my behalf, the one thing I can tell all females, make sure to do your research. Make sure to do your research before you start dating anyone. Expose them, put pictures. Don't do it. But other than that, I'm doing very well.
Trick, you're already an icon in Miami, but this season people are seeing more of your personal life, you know, a bit beyond the music, the business, the community work. What side of you are viewers getting now?
But you know, I'm just gonna try to be myself. You know what I'm saying? Stay afloat. And you know, I'm getting older now. So I opened up another restaurant in the Fort Lauderdale area in the Six Trunk neighborhood. And I'm trying to open up my breakfast spot because Sundays has a sister company affiliated with it called Blue Hen. So y'all be looking forward to the breakfast spot. And I'm just doing, you know, I'm like Michael Black. I appreciate people like Michael Black. So he's trying to make America black again by bringing more kids into the, you know, to the world. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to also do that without trying to bash anybody, without trying to do anything. Florida just turned blue. I just want y'all to know that. It's going to be a lot of changes. Nobody will be bamboozled. Nobody will be tricked and fooled no more. Florida just turned blue. During the government shutdown, me and my business partner, along with Reggie Leon of Miami Gardens, we fed all the federal workers who didn't get paid. We fed them every day, every chance we got, and we fed them for free, and they appreciate it. And all of us, we got to stick together because we got to live in this world together, man.
I want to thank you three for joining me today. New chapters, real growth, and no shortage of stories. Love and Hip Hop Miami returns with a brand new season, Tuesdays at 8 Eastern and Pacific on BET. And this one digs a little deeper. I want to thank you three for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
That's right.
Love you. Besito. Bye.
There's something electric about a film that makes you feel like you're right there on the track. And F1, the movie, has been delivering that rush ever since it hit Apple TV. It's already the highest grossing sports movie of all time, packed with real Grand Prix racing and a story led by Brad Pitt that hits just as hard as the action. So today we're joined by Joseph Kosinski, the filmmaker who brought this world to life. Joseph, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I love the hat. Thank you for representing.
Hey, I got my Apex Grand Prix hat. I'm excited about this movie. It did really well. I was a big fan of it. For anyone catching up at home, how do you describe the F1 movie and the experience you wanted viewers to feel at the moment those engines pretty much start?
Well, Brad Pitt plays Sonny Hayes, a driver that was supposed to be kind of a young phenom in the 1990s. He has this horrific accident that derails his career. But now in 2025, his old dear friend, played by Javier Bardem, finds him in Daytona, Florida, and pulls him back into the world of F1 for a second chance at redemption as he joins a underdog team called Apex GP that has to win only one race to save the team, but they're up against Ferrari and Red Bull and Mercedes and all the titans of this incredible sport. So it's a story about redemption, second chances, underdogs. You know, even if you know nothing about racing, we'll teach you everything you need to know about F1 and hopefully turn you into a fan.
And you filmed during real Grand Prix weekends, right inside the chaos of the sport. What did that give you creatively that you couldn't recreate anywhere else? And also, were there any challenges?
Yeah, there's nothing like the energy of a real Formula One event. Anyone who's been to one of these races knows it's like a 3-day festival of speed. And it's not something that you could create with CGI. Even though we have all these amazing tools, there would be, you just wouldn't be able to capture the essence and make it feel as real as it is. So we went through the effort of working with Formula One, shooting the movie during real Grand Prix with real crowd in the stands, put Brad and Damson in real race cars on the track during those weekends. And I think we captured something really special. Usually we'd have hours or days to shoot a scene, as many takes as you want. In this case, we'd only get 7 to 9 minutes to shoot these scenes. So the actors had to be on point, the crew had to be ready. And so that was a massive challenge I've never faced before, but I think the result speaks for itself.
And at the center of all this speed, there's this bond and rivalry between Brad Pitt's veteran driver character and Damson, who's the rising star. What drew you to that relationship as the emotional core?
Well, the interesting thing about Formula One is that your teammate is often your greatest rival. And it's something that we see every day on every team in F1. And that, to me, made this a really unique story and a unique sport. So capturing that rivalry of two people that are against each other, but then learn to work together. And when you've got a whole team working together in unison, anything's possible. And so it's really a story about teamwork. Which is, I think something that we all can relate to.
And the film's authenticity has been a big talking point, especially with Lewis Hamilton involved behind the scenes. What were the details that you felt most responsible for absolutely getting right?
Well, listen, Lewis was a huge help on all the technical details, going down to what gear the car should be in for every corner. I mean, we got it down to that level. But what he was most helpful was really the more spiritual side of racing and what it is that makes these guys do what they do week in and week out. So there's a really important scene in this film where Brad is on the balcony kind of talking about why he races. And a lot of that was taken directly from Lewis himself. And that's something we just wouldn't have gotten any other way.
And the soundtrack has taken off globally. Hans Zimmer, man.
Yeah, he's the best.
How did the music shape the way you kind of built that tension and energy throughout the movie?
Yeah, well, Hans Zimmer, obviously one of the greatest composers working. I knew I wanted this film to have a really memorable theme and melody, and that's something Hans does better than anyone. You take that theme and you work it through different variations throughout the film, but also integrating in an incredible soundtrack with artists from all around the world into the film was a huge challenge. I have a great team at Skywalker Sound that mixed it all together. So the amount of talent, you know, that was brought together to make this film is just amazing.
Joseph, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. F1 the movie is now streaming on Apple TV, so if you miss it in theaters or if you want to feel that rush again, you can pretty much dive in anytime. Joseph, thanks for joining me today, my friend.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You ever have a breakup where the dog took it a little harder than you did? There's a new rom-com that leans into that idea with a very good boy caught in the middle of the world's most awkward co-parenting situation. So today, we're hanging out with Patricia Heaton and David Hunt in the new Prime Video movie Merv, where fixing the dog's broken heart might just spark something between the humans too. Patricia, David, hey, how you guys doing today?
We're doing great, thank you.
Doing great, thanks.
All right, so for the people that haven't seen the trailer yet, what is the heart of Merv and kind of what pulled you both towards this story?
Well, Merv is about a dog who's depressed because his parents, played by Zoe Deschanel and Charlie Cox, have broken up. And so they're sharing custody of him, and he's not doing well. He's a little depressed. And so it's about their journey to try to help Merv adjust to the situation, and about them mending their relationship.
And the movie treats the dog's perspective with so much humor and warmth. How did that dynamic shape your characters playing the parents?
I'm not sure.
Our characters are really concerned more about the relationship between
we
Anna
play
and
the same
Russ.
sort of role in the sense we're trying to bring the couple back together again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a little bit depressed that they're broken up also. We're like Merv. Yeah, so that's kind of our dynamic, and we want to see them get back together.
And there's like a thread of healing throughout the healing through joy that kind of runs throughout the film. And as the parents trying to bring them together, what captured that feeling for you two?
Well, I think, you know, for the Christmas season, it's really important, especially with things that are going on in the world today, to have that kind of joy, to have a reminder to be grateful for your family, to be grateful for your relationships, and try to be kind, you know, just spread kindness in the world. So that's really kind of what attracted us.
Yeah, to be grateful for your own life, as well as that of your family. But it's important to spark a conversation, and if it takes a dog to have people start talking to each other, I think that's a wonderful thing. We could use a lot more of that in the world right now.
And both of you have, you know, I guess incredible chemistry on screen because it happens off screen as well. What's it like building this world as a real life couple in a movie and kind of maintaining that chemistry?
Well, how many years have we been married? 35?
Do we have to really tell everybody?
Well,
that?
it's just I mean, every year on our anniversary, we wake up and we are like, that's enough, right? That's long enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing new to figure out. But I think, you know, chemistry probably brings people together, and then it's about like accepting and creating history together through your family, through your experiences, and then just really appreciating and being able to look back on just sort of this wonderful life that you've been given.
The journey is
the journey
is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every holiday movie has that moment that kind of sticks with audiences. What do you hope people walk away with after watching Merv?
I think just, you know, as I said, to learn to be kind, learn to communicate, be patient with each other, give people grace to figure things out, and just be there for each other.
Can we set aside our differences long enough to actually talk to each other?
Yeah.
That's what I would like people to go away with.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank you two for joining me this morning. Merv is arriving on Prime Video December 10th. Grab the family, grab the dog. Hopefully they're not depressed, and make sure you stream it right at home. I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
The Housemaid is one of those thrillers where everything looks perfect on the surface, but then it just like slowly unravels. It's based on the best-selling novel that stars Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried in a story filled with secrets, power, and unexpected twists. Behind the camera is director Paul Feig, bringing a signature style to a dark, psychological ride that keeps audiences guessing. Paul, it's great to have you here with us. How are you, my friend?
Dan, I'm great. On a Monday morning, I've never been better.
All right, so this story pulls people in fast and keeps kind of flipping expectations. What was it about The Housemaid that made you want to tell this story on the screen?
Well, I mean, the book is so good. You know, the source material is there, and I'm always looking for, especially in the thriller genre, ones that have just big twists and turns that you don't see coming. And then once you get one twist, you get another twist, and then you get another twist. And, Frida McFadden's book is just so good. There's a reason it's been on the bestseller list for 2 years now. And so it just seemed like it was just too delicious to not bring to the big screen.
And you've kind of described this movie as almost a Nancy Meyers movie gone wrong.
Yes.
How did that idea shape the look and the tone of this film?
Well, I mean, exactly what it sounds like. I wanted Millie, the character of Millie, which is played by Sydney Sweeney, to come into this world that just on the outside looks like the perfect situation. The house is all cream colored and beautiful, and everything is perfectly ordered. And it feels like for a girl who was living in her car just, at the time, to come into this situation would be fantastic. Because it's a real, the whole book is really a statement about, like, are we making judgments on just facades, and should we dig a little deeper? You don't want to distrust everybody, but at the same time, there's a lot of con people out there these days. So you want to delve a little deeper before you give the stamp of approval to anybody.
And the power dynamics in the story are just constantly shifting. How did you approach keeping the audience guessing on, I guess, who to trust?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had to kind of really hide things. So, because there's such big turns, and we kind of make you root for things that later on you'll find out you probably shouldn't be rooting for. And it was just really getting my cast, who are so amazing, to just play very real into these things so that you don't see what lies beneath any of them, because everyone's got a really big secret.
And Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried, they both play characters with a lot of going on beneath the surface. What stood out to you about the performances as pretty much everything starts to unravel?
Well, I mean, just the pivot that they made. Sydney had to kind of play very, kind of naive and innocent until you kind of find out her backstory. And then with Amanda, we just had a blast kind of letting her just be sort of all over the place because, Nina, that character that she plays, is very unpredictable, and it keeps Millie off her game. So that was really fun. And then Brandon Sklenar playing the perfect husband. He just is wonderful, and him from other movies where he plays this guy. But then, to get to play with that was fun too. But no spoilers.
Of course. This movie feels like it's kind of designed to be a social watch, like either with an audience or with a group of friends. Why do you think that's important for the story?
Oh, well, first of all, movies, we need people back in movie theaters. It's fun to watch a movie by yourself on streaming, but there's nothing like that group experience. And what we've been finding with this movie is people are going in there with groups. And I mean, I've sat in the million audiences now with this movie, and they're cheering and they're screaming and they're talking back to the screen, and they're just having a great time. It's very interactive. And I think with a movie like this, with all these twists and turns, because I'm a comedy guy, I've done Bridesmaids and all these things. Everything I do is engineered to get a vocal response out of an audience. So if you're there with your friends, you're just going to have a great time just looking at each other and saying, oh my gosh, and and talking to the screen and just going nuts.
Paul Feig, I'm a super fan, and you are a hero to me. The Housemaid is now playing in theaters nationwide. If you're in the mood for a smart, twisty thriller that keeps the surprises coming, this one is worth seeing on the big screen. Paul, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. And everybody, please go. You're going to have a great time.
Hey, I want to thank you for tuning in to Rise and Unwind. If you want to be part of the show, just go to our website, riseunwindtv.com, fill out the form, send it in. Maybe you could be on a future episode. We're on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Plus, you can find our YouTube channel at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.